So to end this session, I'm going to give you some useful phrases when you're referring to social work. So you can say to parents or families, it's our routine practice to refer such injuries for social work assessment. I'm not accusing anyone. I wasn't there when this occurred, because often a parent will say, are you accusing me of hurting my child? I would never do that. Well, that's what you come back with. I'm sure you understand we have to take such injuries in children seriously and look at all possible reasons. Look, we are where we are. We have a young infant who's got an unexplained fracture. You can't explain it. As a parent, I can't explain it. We all need to move forward with this process, and this is a routine process that we do in such circumstances. The nature of this injury means we have a duty to involve social work colleagues. My primary concern and responsibility is for your child's welfare. I am sure that's also your main concern. So you try and keep the focus on the child. Now, it's important that you do talk to children if you have safeguarding concerns, but it's also important that you don't hamper any evidence. We did ask the legal people, what should we ask? We got back some vague answers. The doctor should be able to ask a question if you need to know the answer to address your clinical management. Each situation needs assessed on a case-by-case basis, but you should avoid leading questions. The number of times I hear from medical staff, I have a child maybe who is very red and sore down below, I'm worried about abuse, and I asked them, did somebody touch you there? And they said no, or they said yes. That is a completely leading question. Children at a certain age will want to please, and they will just say yes because they think that's what you want to hear. So do not ask a leading question. And also record exactly what the child says. So the number of times I would be in Rowan and the police would be giving us a handover and they would say, this 4-year-old said she was anally penetrated by her uncle. She didn't say that. She said, Uncle Billy put his finger up my bum. That's what the child said. That is what you record verbatim. So how do you talk to children? These are some of my suggestions. Child presents with PV bleeding. You haven't got an explanation. Ask them, oh, look, you're bleeding. Do you know why you're bleeding? Do you know why that happened or how it happened? You see the child's red and sore. Oh, look, you're red. Are you sore? Do you know why you're sore? If the child does make an allegation to you, document verbatim, but do not question the child. So if the parent brings the child in and says, she told me that such and such happened, that is not your role to ask the child the questions. That is police and social services. So you do not need to go any further if you have an allegation which you have a reasonable cause to suspect abuse. So our key messages here to finish off this talk are to consider the possibility, document verbatim what people say to you, take care in using terms, be careful about agreeing explanations. And by that I mean we all have had situations where a child has been brought to hospital or been in the ward, and maybe several hours later a parent will approach you and say, oh, I've just remembered he fell off a slide this morning. Is that how it could have happened? And you know, you're in a difficult situation, you want to appease the parent, you want to reduce their distress, and you just say, well, yeah, maybe it did, maybe that's fair enough, that's plausible. What then happens is, if that ends up in a court situation, your 2-second conversation will be presented as a medical opinion on the injury. Dr. So-and-so said that that was possible. Maybe you didn't even think that, but you wanted to get out of the situation. So please do not do that. Your response should be, thank you for telling me that. I will certainly pass that on to my seniors to see what their impression is, what their thoughts are. So that's my first big thing for that. The second thing is to correct misinterpretations. So if there's a lot of semantics around child protection. So maybe you've said, I don't see any abnormality. You later hear that a social worker has quoted you as saying the child was not abused. The doctor said the child wasn't abused. And you hear that back and you say, I didn't mean that at all. I didn't say that. Well, you have to correct that misinterpretation with the professional who's giving that forward. Don't just let it sit. Make sure you contact them, correct it in writing. So important for children. Consult with your seniors. I've already mentioned it if you're still concerned. Be professionally curious as to the things that you see, because you may actually be the person who is right in your thoughts. And remain objective. That is your role. You're there to use whatever knowledge you have, whatever training, to look at the clinical findings and think whether you have a concern. But your whole attitude in this is to be objective as to whether this is or this isn't an abusive injury. Resources for you. There's lots of resources. Child Protection Companion is online. Physical Signs of Child Sexual Abuse is coming online within the next month or so. GMC have guidance that you can refer to. The Safeguarding Board in Northern Ireland, I would advise you to download the app onto your phone. It has all the policies. It has all the phone numbers that you need. NICE also produce guidance. Okay, folks. So thank you for